Yes, my Between the Liners, welcome back to the show. And today I'm here and you are here to witness me to put aside the media narratives and the agendas from rival fans to tell you 5 reasons why Manchester United's situation isn't actually that bad. Between the Liners. Before I start with the video, I want to give a special shout out and an honourable mention to Lady Kathy Ferguson, RIP to her, and I couldn't think of a more fitting way for her to be honoured and remembered than Scott McTominay, a Scottish player, scoring in equaliser and a winner in injury time, in Fergie time, as we like to call it, in our last home game to win the game, a comeback game. So RIP Kathy Ferguson. I hope Sir Alex is doing well. And another special mention as well to one of my favourite players of all time, one of the reasons why I love Manchester United and love football, grew up in his area as well, David Beckham. An unbelievable documentary, and I've got many points on that, but I'll save that for another video. I'm wearing the 1999 Champions League final shirt. I've got Becks on the back as well, which I'll show you. But let's get into the 5 reasons why Manchester United's situation isn't that bad. Number 1. Injuries and suspensions are easing up. Why is it that when we talk about Manchester City, or when the media talk about Manchester City, or rival fans talk about Manchester City, it's made a point that they've lost 3 games in a row because one of their most crucial players, Rodri, is out of the starting lineup? That's one guy, bro. And yeah, they're missing De Bruyne, but they seem to do all right. They seem to create enough chances and score enough goals when De Bruyne's not in the team. And so no one's really mentioned it that much. But as soon as Rodri's out, it seems like one player is so crucial to their team, that's why they lose. But when it's Manchester United, no one's mentioning our injuries. And when they mention our injuries, they're like, oh, is he a first team starter though? You're telling me Varane and Martinez aren't first team starters? Or Luke Shaw's not a first team starter? Or Aaron Wan-Bissaka's not a first team starter? And even the suspensions we've had, Sancho and Anthony, you're telling me that they don't get in our first team? And it's not going to have an impact on the rest of our team. So as far as players coming back to fitness and coming back from suspension, obviously just before the international break, we saw Anthony come back, and that's going to have a helping hand on our right-hand side. And I know he's not been in the greatest form either. He's not really shown a lot. But there's one thing he does show you is technical security. He keeps possession of the ball. He works hard and helps his team defend. And that's definitely going to help in helping United get back to winning ways. And if you can't see that, then you're absolutely delusional. But another player coming back from injury, it's likely that, I know it's mad to say, but I think Reguilon's going to be coming back. And that alone helps the whole team. And one reason for that is without a secure and regular, consistent back 4, how do you expect your team to build up from the back or have a secure foundation at the back and not leak goals when your defense is changing every 2 minutes? Onana has faced a lot of criticism, some from me, a lot from rival fans, a lot from the media, and I completely understand that, for some of his handling of the ball and some of his clumsy errors on the ball. I get that. But another thing you have to factor in, since he's come into the club, he hasn't had a regular back 4 since the first game of the season? Every other game from then has been a different left back, has been 2 different centre backs, has been a different right back. Every single game, that inconsistency is not going to help. Secondly, if he's one of his main strengths and attributes is passing out from the back, yeah, he's meant to be good on the ball. If you're passing out to Maguire and Evans and Amrabat at left back, who's not even a left back, you're going to lose confidence in your player's ability, and therefore that's going to affect your own confidence compared to when he's been passing out to Martinez and Varane and Luke Shaw. It's going to be a lot easier because when he makes a pass, he's going to have some confidence in himself and his team that they're going to deal with that pass in a competent way. Whereas if he's passing out to Maguire or Evans or Amrabat at left back, you just know when you're passing out, there might be an error from one of those players. So your pass has to be inch perfect. And that can have like a ripple effect on the rest of the team because the confidence in each other's, in their teammates, isn't going to be secure and isn't going to be of a high level. And that brings down the whole team. Once we get a few more players coming back, I think Reguilon's going to be coming back soon. And I've heard Shaw should be coming back pretty soon after the international break. People are forgetting Shaw is one of the most technically secure players in the league at fullback. So that's going to have a major impact on our team. And it's going to have an impact on our forwards as well, which I'll get into a bit later. So they're coming back. Ahmad supposedly coming back from injury. We haven't even seen him this season, and that's going to put more competition on the right-hand side. Hopefully a bit more attacking quality. Kobe Mainu, our young star from pre-season, our breakout star from last season alongside Garnacho. He's supposedly coming into fitness. He looked like he was going to become a crucial player in our midfield. He's going to be that one that carries the ball from the midfield and takes it into the second phase of play, or passes it and breaks the line into the third, into the attacking players, into the opposition's defense even. So once they get into the team, a bit more technical security in the team, coming back from injuries and suspension, the rest of our team will perform better. The players will have more motivation. The players will have more confidence as well. And as well as those few names I've listed, we have 12 or 13 injuries or suspensions in total. And I get a lot of the rival fans' answers to that will be, yeah, so what? They're not your first team regulars. Not all of them are. It doesn't matter. 3 or 4 of them will have a major advantage, give a major advantage to the team. And also, so what? They're not first team regulars. If they're coming off the bench, that's going to help boost the team. You can gain extra points by players that are coming off the bench. Look at City against Arsenal, for example. They've sold Mahrez and Gundogan. So when they're bringing on, I think they brought on Doku, for example, who's a good player, don't get me wrong, but he's not exactly a Manchester City match winner yet, or he's not providing enough to the team yet to be able to change the dynamics of the team. And we haven't been able to do that. When you're 12, 13 players out, who are you bringing off the bench? Unfortunately, we've got to rely on a young Garnacho, who's unbelievable anyway, or an inexperienced Pellistri, or Johnny Evans is coming off the bench, or Maguire is coming off the bench, or who else? McTominay is coming off the bench. McTominay has saved us in that last game. He shouldn't, no disrespect to McTominay, he shouldn't really be the one coming off the bench. It should have been maybe a Mount, for example, or an Amrabat, for example. But because we've got so many injuries in the team, we've had to force guys into the first team and have backup options on the second team, on the bench, who probably aren't good enough to help Manchester United be to the, or get to the level that we need to be at, or the level that we seem to be capable of reaching last season. So that's the injuries and suspensions. We'll take it on. Number 2, agenda. The agenda from rival fans and the media absolutely stinks. And I get it. Manchester United have ruined your childhoods. Manchester United have ruined, if you're of my age, we ruined about 15, 20 years of your lifetime. And I completely understand why you're salty right now. But just think for a second. The amount of scrutiny and criticism that we come under, and it's our worst start in 34 years. I hold my hand up. I'll take responsibility for that on Ten Hag's behalf. It's been a bad start, don't get me wrong. But what? We've lost 2 games more than Man City? This is a treble winning Man City side. And we've only lost 2 games more than them. They're 6 points ahead of us. In the grand scheme of things of a whole season, that's not a lot. 6 points. Arsenal were 8 points top of the league at one point last season. Man City overcame that with ease. We're only 6 points behind the treble side that won the league last year, won the treble last year. Along with that, we're only 5 points behind Liverpool, who are supposedly having some unbelievable start to the season. They're scoring so many goals. And don't get me wrong, they're doing very well. But we're only 5 points behind them. And a lot of rival fans expected United to not even get top 4. So then when we're out of top 4, they all start saying, you lot are so shit. But I thought this is what you lot expected. If this is what you lot expected, why are you hyping it up so much? And also, we're only 5 points behind Liverpool. If you're going to criticise us, you might as well criticise Liverpool as well. Because 5 points difference in our worst start in 34 years is not a big difference. There's 30 games left of the season to go. And you lot are acting like Man United are done. And I'm seeing people saying, there's no way United are going to get top 4. Are you mad? Are you actually nuts? Think about it for a sec. Take yourself away from the agendas and the media narratives. And you're telling me that United aren't capable of top 4 already in 8 games when we've got 12, 13 injuries. That's crazy to me. I am so sure we're going to get top 4, which leads me on to number 3. Erik Ten Hag. I cannot believe the amount of criticism and skepticism this guy has faced over 8 games. It's actually nuts. The amount of disrespect he's received is crazy to me. You guys need to go and do your research and look at what he's done in his past career, in his managerial career. In his first job at Go Ahead Eagles, he took them to their first promotion in 17 years. In his second job at Bayern Munich 2, this guy is a grafter. He's not just gone to the top clubs. He's worked at the clubs at the lower levels and worked his way up. At Bayern Munich, he didn't work for the first team. He worked for the reserve team and he won the Division 2 with them. In his third job, he took Utrecht to 5th in his first season. In his second season, he took them to the Europa League for the first time ever. At Ajax, he took them to the semi-finals. He won the league 3 times in a row, if I'm not mistaken. And he took them to the Champions League semi-finals for the first time in 20 years. In Manchester United, in his first season, after all the things he went through, Glazers trying to sell the club, Greenwood situation, Sancho situation, Maguire captaincy situation, Ronaldo situation. So many other things that I'm probably not even remembering. Anthony's situation, Sancho's situation. January, when we needed players, they gave him Sabitzer and Weghorst. When we were fighting on all 4 fronts, obviously we weren't going to win the league, but we're still competing on all 4 fronts. And that's what this club has done to him. Any other manager in this situation would have left. They would have quit. It would have been a mutual consent decision and he would have been out of here. The amount of shit he's had to go through and you lot still want to doubt him. Are you mad? And I'm not going to lie. Some of his decisions this season have looked troubling and confusing. But we don't know what's going on behind the scenes at that club every day. The things I've just listed out to you are only the things that we've seen in the public. There's certain things that we do not see that he's going through on a day-to-day basis, and this club is an absolute shit show right now. There's so much of a mess, so many things going wrong. And this guy, you want to hound out this guy? After Ten Hag, who's next? You're going to bring in De Zerbi. The same things they were saying about De Zerbi now, they said about Ten Hag before he came in. This guy, the amount of presence and the control and discipline his input into this team is massive. The best manager we've had post-Fergie. Let's get it right. And the stats is proven. He got top 4 and a trophy in his first season. No other manager post-Fergie had ever won a trophy and got top 4 in the same season. And he come in and did that in his first season after all the difficult circumstances that he had to go through. And you're going to lose faith in him over 8 games. Insanity. If you're a United fan, have some respect to yourself and think about what you're saying and what you're doing. Ten Hag is the man. You better back him from today. And I guarantee he will turn it around. This is the turning point. I don't know if this is a turning point, but yeah, I'm going to guarantee that he's going to turn it around one way or another. It might not happen the next game. It might do. Let's take it on to point 4. The Glazers. Look, there's a massive cloud over United, and I know rival fans like to point this out and say, oh, get the Norwich scarves out again, blah, blah, blah. But you honestly have to consider the size of Manchester United, and it's rotten to the core at the moment because of the Glazers, because of the recruitment, the staff they have, the directors, the board of directors, the direction that the club is heading at with the people that are in charge. The only positive thing that they've done is sign Ten Hag. Other than that, all the decisions they've made has been wrong. And I get it. Rival fans will come and say that they've backed Ten Hag. And I completely understand that. In certain times they have. In other times, because of the way that they are run, the way they've backed Ten Hag hasn't been appropriate enough. For example, splashing out 90 million or 85 million or whatever it was on Anthony was the wrong decision. If they'd gone in earlier, like Ten Hag wanted, they would have got him for like 40 million. That's another 40 million saved, and we could have potentially got another striker last season. Instead, they gave him Weghorst. They gave him Sabitzer. They got Sabitzer and Weghorst on a loan. We didn't spend no money in January. And then this summer, we should have been outspending money or getting our players in early. Instead, we got Mount in, which is fair enough. They got him in early. We got Amrabat in when the season's already started. Who else do we sign? We got Højlund in and he's injured and the season's already started. Like, the way that the club is run is completely toxic. And my point about this is, look at Newcastle last year or the season before that when Mike Ashley sold up. The turnaround that they had in that club has been humongous, to the point where average players, guys like, I don't want to disrespect him because he's doing all right, but like guys like Sean Longstaff, let's be real, or Almiron or Joe Linton, average players are becoming world beaters. That's influence of the board and the surrounding atmosphere of the club being lifted because Mike Ashley left and they had new owners. And look at them now. They're in the Champions League. They're beating teams like PSG 4-1. And fair enough, give some credit to the coaching staff and the players themselves because they've had to do that. But the weight off their shoulders that was lifted by the sale of the club. Imagine that happening to a club our size. The size of Manchester United, with the players that we have and the coaching staff that we have, the infrastructure that we have, the ability on the team that we have, the jump will be outrageous. You can only imagine, obviously, I'm speculating, but you can only imagine the jump will be absolutely outrageous. The confidence that will fly throughout the team, the coaching staff, the receptionists, the chefs, the players, the manager, the confidence boost that we will get by the sale of the Glazers will be immense. And I cannot wait till that happens. Let's take it on to number 5. And this might be one of the more controversial points that I have. Marcus Rashford and Bruno Fernandes. And I know they've been playing so bad this season most of the time. I thought Rashford was alright against Brentford in that first half, you know. And I feel like Rashford's got a lot more criticism than he's deserved this season. And that happens because of the higher standards that he set last season by scoring 30 goals. Now everyone's wondering, when's Marcus Rashford going to score? When's he going to get an assist? And the fact of the matter is he's got a couple of assists here and there, hasn't he? And he's got that goal against Arsenal, which was sublime. And he's taken on his man and he's beating his man a bit. The only thing people want to level at him, and I get it, is maybe his mentality or work rate, because sometimes the ball goes near him and he doesn't put in a challenge. And that frustrates the life out of me. I've been to Old Trafford this season and I've seen that myself with my own eyes. And he puts in like a pathetic attempt to win a header or something, or to go in for a duel. And I get that. But think of the circumstances this kid has had to go through since he was 18, since he broke into the team. Different managers, different players around him, different systems he's had to play in. The responsibility of being a match winner at Manchester United, being from the academy, the amount of shit, all the things that I had to go through during COVID with Boris and feeding kids and stuff, and being the prime minister of this country, winning an MBE, winning a doctorate as well, earning a doctorate, achieving a doctorate at the same time. The amount of things that this guy has gone through on and off the pitch is incredible. And to still be at Manchester United and to still be a crucial player on our team is incredible. And one thing I spoke about earlier is a left back coming back into our team, Reguilon or maybe Shaw. Go back to the 2 games this season when Reguilon was playing, and Reguilon's not amazing, but he makes Rashford look better. Because when Rashford has a competent left back behind him, he looks so much better. He has an option to either go down the line or to either go inside, because the left back is taking away another player. Whereas Amrabat, no disrespect to him, I love Amrabat, and I almost made him a point on his own in this video because I think he will have a massive impact on this team. He's not going to be supporting Marcus like a normal left back would be, because that's not Amrabat's position. When a left back comes into this team, I promise you will start to see the best of Marcus Rashford. And I get the pressure he's under. Bruno Fernandes. You know what? Let me talk about Amrabat as well. Amrabat is massive. I think he's going to be an unbelievable player in that midfield. I'm going to talk about Casemiro as well, because I know people are trying to write off Casemiro. You'd be stupid to write off Casemiro after all the years of service he's had at the elitist level of football. We just played more games last season than any other club in Europe, but people want to forget about that. When Liverpool were going for that quadruple the season before, the next season they finished 5th. They had hella injuries. We just played more games than anyone else in Europe last season, and people expect us to be fine. Come on, like think logically. Casemiro played more games last year than any other season that he's had in his career, if I'm not mistaken, or at least since he came to Europe. And you think that he's not going to have a slow start? The maths ain't mathing. I guarantee Casemiro will up the levels. And I know he's been bad. I'm not saying he's not been bad. He's been bad. He hasn't looked fit enough. I don't know. In the last game, he looked a lot skinnier, though, a lot more. But he's giving the ball away in terrible places. I get that. Once that guy clicks into gear and gets into match fitness and gets into match sharpness that we know he can do like he did last season, people want to forget what just happened 6 months ago. This guy was one of the best DMs in the world. You don't forget that. You don't lose that. It's coming back. Just be ready for it. Amrabat, I just want to mention before I get onto the final point. Amrabat, I think, is a sensational footballer. The discipline he has, the mobility he has, the ability to find a pass, the character he is and the character he has, the spirit, the fight, exactly a typical Manchester United player, and I love it. And I think the more he plays in that midfield, the better the rest of the team will play, the more confident the defenders will be, and the more fluid the attack should be with the protection that he has or he's given at the back. Let's move on to the main man. It's Captain Fantastic, or what do they call him? Or Portuguese Magnifico. I'm not even going to cut that bit out of the video. You can have that. Captain Fantastic, Bruno Fernandes, one of my favourite players at United. Probably the best signing post-Fergie. One of our best players post-Fergie. I know he's getting a lot of criticism and I know we expect so much more from him. The captaincy decision, I'm going to leave to you guys. Me personally, I might choose someone else, but there's not many other leaders or options to take the captaincy role, and I get that. Forget that for a sec. People are criticizing him because of the role he's taken or the way he's playing right now. Have you guys forgotten? This is not a centre mid. We've made him into a box-to-box or an 8 or a ball carrier. That's not his position. He's meant to be a centre attacking mid. He's a cam. He's a number 10. He's a false 9 almost, or a 9.5-ish. But we're asking him to play a different position for the good of the team. You're not going to give him time to get into that role. You're going to judge him after 8 games. You're going to think he's finished after 8 games. Kevin De Bruyne, of all people, is one of the Premier League's greatest ever players. Let's get it real. Kevin De Bruyne said Bruno Fernandes is a creative machine. But everyone wants to ignore that now because they think they know better than Kevin De Bruyne. Okay then. Okay. United fans, have some patience. Let the guy learn his role, and I believe there's been certain times, even last season and at the beginning of this season, where he's played that 8 role and you could see something in there when he has his head screwed on. He makes the right passes. He's creative. He works hard for the team. He's energetic. He's got the right character in certain times on his day. And when it goes wrong, I know it goes it goes really wrong. His head drops. He starts moaning a lot at his teammates, at the referee, etc. I get that. Let him learn his role. It's been 8 games. We're still in a building process. People think just because we had Ten Hag for 1 year that we should be ready now. Who said that was the case? Arteta finished 8th twice. Pep didn't win the league in his first season. I think he finished 4th. Klopp didn't win the league in his first season. I think he finished 6th or 7th. But Ten Hag finished his 3rd, and he's expected to do miracles in the next 8 games. Or it's said that he's flopped and that he's not capable of doing well. It's insanity. Guys, that was my 5 reasons why Manchester United, our situation is not that bad right now. If you don't agree, let me know why. If you agree, get in the comments and support your team. This is Manchester United. We are coming back to the top. Whether it's this season or not, I do not care, because I know one day we'll be back at the top where we belong. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Get in the comments if you agree or disagree. Come on, United. Between the lines.